Hi, I'm Bedros Keuilian, and I'm founder and CEO of FitBody BootCamp, and I'm one of the passionate few. Love the interview with Omar. He asked such compelling questions, and we were able to dive deep into what entrepreneurs need to be able to scale their business to their fullest potential.
Hey guys, welcome to this episode of The Passionate Few. Today we get to sit down with the CEO and founder of the FitBody BootCamp, Mr. Bedros Keuilian. And we get to hear the whole story of not only how he built his multi-million-dollar fitness empire, spanning over 600 locations and growing every month, but also how he started out coming to this country from communist Russia when he was 6 years old, dealing with being overweight, not having a lot of money, even going as far as having to dig through trash cans for food, but how he was able to turn that all around once he found his passion for fitness and turned it into a profession. So I hope you guys enjoy this interview, and I hope it inspires you to take your mindset, your fitness, and your business to that next level. So with no further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy this powerful interview with Bedros Keuilian. Enjoy. Thanks for being on the show today, Bedros.
Thanks for having me, Omar.
My man. So let's get right into it. A lot of people have seen you on social media. They know about your story of coming to this country when you were 6 from Armenia. You've done a lot of amazing stuff, not just in fitness and in the digital space and coaching, but talk to us a little bit about sort of what you grew up, what your childhood was like, and how you ended up coming to the U.S.
Yeah, so I grew up as a communist, believe it or not, and that's because we lived in the Soviet Union. And I was 6 years old when my dad decided that we're going to escape the Soviet Union and come to the United States. Now, his whole thing was that he didn't want my older brother, who was about to go into the Soviet army, to go into the army because they were going to go and fight in Afghanistan back then. And so in 1980, it was June 16th, 1980, we escaped and entered the United States. And now as a family of 5, me being 6 years old, the youngest of the family, no one in the family spoke English. No one understood the culture. We just knew that America was a place of freedom, of opportunity, and that as long as you have work ethic, you could be anything you want, which is a polar opposite of the communist lifestyle, coming from the Soviet Union, Armenia, where we were. And so my dad, with that in mind, freedom, opportunity, and you can become anything you want, decides that, hey, we're going to escape, and he was willing to risk his life for it. So he actually bribed the Russian government $25,000, and we escaped.
Wow.
And so...
What was he working at the time?
Dude, this is a funny story. He was... So in a communist country, everybody works for the government, right? And so he worked in a men's suit manufacturing plant. So he was a tailor, one of probably hundreds of tailors in this giant plant. But he had a supervisor role. And as a supervisor, his job was to, make sure that all the tailors and seamstresses had enough material to make the suits, the jackets, the vests, the pants.
Right.
Well, he had figured out in all those jackets, suits, and pants, now I'm going to give you a little lesson on on alterations, but it all starts off with putting patterns on giant pieces of material and then cutting around the patterns. My dad had figured out that for every 11 patterns, if he put them together really tightly, he could save enough material up for one suit that would be off the record.
Gotcha,
right?
Yeah, off the books.
Yes. He would take that material home, make a custom suit for, actually a lot of his underground customers were KGB agents. He would sell them the suits off the record for a lot cheaper. And of course, that was how he accumulated the money to bribe the government into letting us escape the Soviet Union and come to the United States.
Wow.
Right?
Which taught you a lesson, I'm sure, to be a hustler, to be able to think outside the box, right? Yeah.
If that's not being resourceful and thinking outside of the box, I don't know what is. And what's crazy is many of those lessons kept coming once we came to this country. Because again, you're poor, you're broke, you don't speak English, you don't understand the culture, family of 5 living in a 1-bedroom apartment.
Wow.
And all we had was and the only reason we had that 1 bedroom was a friend of a friend allowed us to stay in this guy's 1-bedroom apartment for 1 month. And he goes, after a month, you guys have to go.
Right.
So everyone, all the adults had to work. Like they were delivering newspapers, washing dishes at a pizzeria, pumping gas, and my mom raised me the best she could. Now, all the money had to be saved to get us an apartment. Yeah. So in the very first month, my dad discovered that these grocery stores have dumpsters that they throw food in because food expires, right?
It's perishable, yeah.
It's perishable, and so he would put me into the dumpsters, and I'd fish out. I remember fishing out cheese and bread and gallons of milk, and it's expired, but it hasn't necessarily gone bad.
Right.
They can't sell it, but we can still consume it.
Right.
And so I was the breadwinner in the family.
Literally.
Literally, because the money had to go towards saving it up for getting our own place, right? Getting our own apartment.
And of course, at that time, that didn't seem weird to you. That just seemed normal, right? That's just what me and dad do, kind of
That's
thing.
it. When mom and dad, people ask me all the time, they go, hey man, so when you're escaping a country, like in hindsight, I look back, they go, were you scared? In hindsight, I look back and I realize, man, there was fear in my mom and dad's eyes. We went from the Soviet Union, from Armenia to Moscow, to Italy, Italy to JFK, New York, New York to California, our final destination. And the only reason my dad chose California is he heard that there's no snow. Soviet Union, there's a lot of snow. He was tired of the cold.
Wow. How old was he at this time?
46.
And despite having like limited financial means, being pretty broke, not being able to afford food, he still managed to save 25 grand to come to this country. So this was like a priority for his family that he sacrificed.
Priority.
Wow.
Oh, dude, if he had gotten caught escaping into the enemy's country, like he wasn't just going to a sympathizing country like Italy. We went into Italy because it was easier, right?
Right.
From Italy, we went to the United States. Like if he had gotten caught, it's immediately killed. Not even like prison. It's just you're killed. That's it. And so but to him, staying there would have been the death of him.
A slow death, so to speak.
A slow death, even worse, as far as I'm concerned. And so I learned how to be resourceful by digging in dumpsters. I learned how to be resourceful when I saw my dad siphon out gasoline from a parked car for my mom because I got lice in one of the crap hole apartments. We lived in Section 8 housing in Santa Ana. And I got lice so bad. I had scabs on my head. My mom's like, what the hell's going on with this kid?
Right.
She sees I've got lice. Well, we couldn't afford lice treatment. Again, like every penny counts.
Right.
And the hell if they're going to buy lice treatment for me.
So this is a reoccurring theme as you're growing up. We don't have money. Be resourceful. Be resourceful. Yeah.
And you talk about building a screwed up mind-money connection. Right. Like my relationship with money was completely twisted. Like we weren't even blue collar. We were just like homeless collar, if there was ever such thing.
So dreams of millions or anything like that, not even remotely on the radar,
No, the thing that I would hear was we keep running out of money before we run out of month.
Yeah.
And so I've got lice and my mom's trying to find another solution other than buying lice treatment. So she makes my dad siphon out gasoline from a parked car and she uses 2 cups of siphoned out gasoline to wash my hair to kill the lice.
Wow.
And so once again, I see that when you don't have the resources, you have to hustle, grind, and get resourceful. The biggest entrepreneurial lesson that I learned as a 6-year-old child growing up in this country was saying that you don't have the resources is unacceptable.
Right.
There's always an opportunity to be resourceful.
If you're committed.
Yeah, if you're committed. And the irony of that is I got a Instagram DM probably about 2 months ago from a young man who says, I've got this great idea for a follow-along workout that I want to do and sell to people, right? A digital information product.
Right.
I said, great, let's do this. Do it. He goes, but I don't have money to get a web designer. I don't have money to buy traffic from Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. I don't have money to create the product, and I don't have a way of getting the shopping cart, Authorize.net, Stripe, etc.
Right.
My response to him was, there's WordPress, so you can make a free website. You probably have an iPhone, which is how you're contacting me through the social media platform.
Right.
If you have an iPhone, you can shoot the videos yourself. You can market for free. You don't have to market with money right now if you don't have it. And so you can market on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. You can use PayPal and accept money for free. So he kept telling me all the reasons why he can't.
Right.
All I saw was opportunities and why he could. Resourcefulness.
Yeah, that's really interesting because I think a lot of people listening to this who might not only be entrepreneurs or maybe aspiring or maybe look up to you, they might see, well, you know, he sort of had it together. Maybe he already had money or he had capital or maybe they don't know the story. But could you talk a little bit about how important it is to actually be resourceful, to actually know, like, to use what you do have to your advantage? Because I think it's a recurring theme that a lot of people that ended up becoming successful in their own niche, so to speak, they started out with a minimum viable product, so to speak, right?
Yep.
A shitty website, a shitty funnel, but at least it gets them in go mode.
Yes.
It gets the ball rolling instead of waiting for when I have the money to launch perfectly.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about that?
Truth about the matter is that perfect doesn't exist, right? In our mind's eye, we all have the perfect idea. I'm going to create this franchise, and people are going to sign up, and we're going to get franchises all over the world. Little did I know in the process that the great state of California was going to attempt to find me $2,500 per location. At the time, we had 187 locations.
Wow.
Because I didn't start it off as a franchise. I started off as a licensing program, right? So my perfect vision was, I'm going to create this franchise. People are going to buy it. and then people are going to sign up all over the world and use it. And I'm going to be the world's best fitness person, right?
Simple as that, right?
Yeah, because my only goal as a fat kid growing up in this country, because I ate so much processed and junk food, was that I just want to help. Once I lost the weight and got fit, I wanted to help more people. So, fitness was my path. I knew that. I was a personal trainer. Then I started coaching and consulting personal trainers, and I created the franchise. Well, the perfect plan was to build it, sell it, service to people. Well, as it turns out, because I wasn't a franchise yet, but I was operating like one, I didn't even know the difference, quite honestly. The state of California says, hey, you've been operating like a franchise, but you're not officially a franchise. We're going to fine you $2,500 per location. We have 187 locations. That might as well have been $25 million per location, Omar, because I didn't have that kind of money.
Right, it's almost $500,000, right?
Yeah, right? And so there's a great opportunity there to go resourcefulness. Do I go, all right, do I just give up? Or do I go, hey, person who reached out to me, do you have a supervisor? Do you have a supervisor? I literally called up the food chain in the great state of California until I said, look, told them my story, like why I started the franchise. I'm not some highfalutin entrepreneur. I started the franchise because I was a fat kid. I came to this country from a foreign country. I've eaten out of dumpsters, and I had low self-esteem, low self-image, low self-confidence. And I just want to help more people through my franchise. And if you fine me $2,500 per location, I won't be able to pay you. It'll be easier for me just to fold. And there's 187 locations that rely on me for their marketing information.
Right. And employees. And
employees
exactly.
are going to go to hell in a handbasket. Or I can apologize, and I will promise not to sell another location until I become a franchise. So I became resourceful, and I realized someone there in the great state of California is a human.
Right.
And humans have emotions. And when you tell a human a story with emotions woven in, see, if I just gave them facts, I didn't know, talk to my lawyer, blah, 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 they would have stuck it to me, dude.
Right.
But I'm a human, you're a human. Let me just tell you. And they said, you know what? All right, you don't have to pay the fine, but you can't sell another location until you officially become a franchise. So in 2012, we officially became a franchise after 11 months of not selling a single location. Wow. It hurt to not sell a single location,
for sure,
but I'll take that option over the alternative.
Right, full.
And so again, it's about being resourceful and going, who can I talk to? Are they a human? Do they have feelings? Do they have emotions? Do they have thoughts? Maybe they have a few pounds to lose. They can understand my plight, right? But so many people give up the moment a hurdle is put in front of them. And I've heard this quote that says, the road to success is riddled with bumps and potholes and detours. And it's so true, because in a perfect world, I just wanted to build a franchise and then have thousands of locations.
And have it be linear growth. Yes.
But man, it was spiking up and down like a heart patient,
Yeah. So let's go back to a little bit of when you said you moved here, because we do want to get into the franchise step by step. So you moved here to this country, you moved to Southern California.
Yep.
You're 6 years old at the time.
Yep.
Talk to me a little bit about what life was like as you transitioned to living here up until your teens or until fitness sort of took over. Life
was really difficult. I can tell you that I just recently, going full disclosure here, I went and saw a therapist. I'm 43 now, so 5 years ago I was working with a therapist for 16 months. Every Monday evening I would leave work here and I would go to Brea, not too far from here, and I'd work with a therapist because I had so much anger, so much rage, and I channeled that rage. Great book by Tim Grover, Relentless. He talks about the cleaners, like the best basketball players on the planet, the best athletes, can take rage and control it for those 42 minutes on the basketball court.
Right, they channel it into it.
Yes. Yeah. So I was able to channel that rage as an entrepreneur. That's good. But in my family, in my personal life, I was so self-destructive because of all of the shit that I had to deal with growing up. For example, imagine going to a school and someone's yelling, go back to your own fucking country, you foreigner, right?
Or you communist or whatever, yeah.
And I heard that over and over and over again. And I would hear people yelling that to my mom and dad because they didn't speak English well. Broken up English, really heavy accent. We'd go to buy something from Ralph's or Vaughn's. And I mean, we're talking like the person from the other side of the counter. You shouldn't be in this country. Like, now we live in a different time, but in the 80s, you shouldn't be in this country if you can't speak the language. You guys are taking all our jobs, Go back to your own fucking country, you foreigner, right?
Wow, and you're seeing this as a young kid over and over and over and over again.
What kind of scars does that leave? And of course, when we run out of money, we can't afford rent, we get evicted, right? And when you're getting evicted, it's never a nice experience. It's like in the middle of the night, hey, get out. There's usually the Orange County Sheriff who are there to make sure you're escorted out. And you get into the next apartment now. You go to a new school. Now you're the new kid again. You're a foreigner, funny haircut, funny clothes.
Yeah. Cycle,
And so the cycle started over. Like I went to 3 elementary schools, 2 junior highs, 2 high schools. And in that entire time, I was constantly, I was called Herman, Pedro. People are like, why Herman? Right? Like Pedro, you can understand, because Bedros, Pedro, okay, I can almost connect those dots. Herman, right? Well, when we came to the country, we found a pile of clothes next to the dumpster, and you're probably too young, but there was a show called The Munsters.
Of course, yeah,
right? You probably heard of it.
Yeah, Eddie Munster,
Yeah, Eddie Munster, right? And so Eddie Munster's dad was Herman Munster. And so, of course, it was Herman Munster on the shirt that we found in the garbage, and I wore, and it said Herman Munster. And so people were like, hey, Herman. And I actually started to respond to that. Like I was saying, hey, what's up? How are you?
What's going on, man? Yeah.
Yeah, but that starts leaving a lot of scars, man. And so all of that stuff and getting beat up and bullied and picked on leaves so many scars that at some point in life, you're going to use some of that rage in a good way. But I also ended up getting into a lot of trouble. Like I was involved in a police helicopter chase, and I wasn't the cops in the helicopter. I was in the getaway car.
Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, growing up, I realized very quickly that if I'm not accepted into a group, and I wasn't an athlete, so that jocks didn't want to hang out with me. I wasn't put into any music, so the kids in music didn't want me. The gothic kids, I didn't want to be a part of their group, right?
And you were overweight too, right?
I was overweight.
So a little insecurity, a little bit.
Lots of insecurity. And of course, around 11th grade, I was like, you know what, senior year is coming. I sure would like to ask a girl out to prom. And so my whole catalyst for working out and losing 35 pounds was to make it to senior year in better shape than I was in junior year so that I could ask this girl, Nakaya, out to the prom. Nakaya.
Gotcha.
And while I never had the confidence to ask her out to the prom, so I never went to the prom, I found myself in great shape. And so now I got this anger and rage and a whole lot of strength.
So did that discipline, I want to go to that moment, because I think a lot of people, it's separate from the entrepreneurial realm, but I think a lot of people listening do care about fitness, or maybe, constantly are starting and restarting. Talk to me a little bit about how you got committed to follow through with fitness, right? Because I'm sure you've seen it so often where people jump on the bandwagon or January 1st. What was it that made you commit and follow through?
For me, it wasn't a vanity thing. See, I think when it's a vanity thing, like, I only have 5 to 15, 20 pounds to lose, you could either lose it or you can hide under loose clothes.
Right.
That's not going to cut it.
Right.
Like for me, the pain was so great of being a fat kid, of being picked on, that I had to change my entire physique. Like for me, it was a matter of survival.
So the motivation was high enough,
My reason why was so high that there's no way I wouldn't have done it.
That it lasted. Yeah, exactly.
Like as somebody said, here's steroids, take it then, I would have taken steroids, right? Because I was just so eager to be out of that pain. Not only am I a foreigner, so at that point now I'm speaking English well and I'm dressing normal, right? But I'm still awkward and fat and out of shape. So I wanted to get rid of all of those things.
How overweight were you at?
35 pounds overweight.
Wow.
And dude, in high school, like, that's substantial.
Of course,
And that's, kids are going to pick on you.
And Nakaya, of course, wasn't interested in you.
She wasn't. She wasn't. That didn't help either. Right? It's like, come on, Nakaya.
I'm sure every rep you're thinking about it too.
Right. Right. And so now all of a sudden I've got all this anger and rage from being picked on and bullied, and I've got all the strength. And so after high school, I was working as a personal trainer in a gym, but me and some friends that I had met, I don't know if I'd call them friends now. Looking back, they're probably more like acquaintances. I had something to gain from them. They had something to gain from me.
Right.
We decided that we were going to carjack people and strip their cars and sell their cars, like Honda Civics and Accords.
Holy shit. So you did this multiple times? Or just
Many times, yeah. One of the times we did this, we tried to carjack a young Asian guy who was driving a Honda Civic. And Honda Civic, the parts are worth a lot of money. Like you can get more for the parts, probably even now, although we shouldn't even go down that rabbit hole. But I wonder if I could carjack someone now. But we had a little strategy. We pull in front of that car under a red light, back up so they can't get out. Then I would get out.
So while they're in the vehicle?
While they're in the vehicle, pull them out of the car, and then I drive off with the vehicle. My friend drives off with the other vehicle. Well, as it turns out, there was another vehicle of their friends with them. Yeah. He gets in his friend's car and they follow us. Right. Later that night, 13 of them come and whoop the shit out of us. I end up in the hospital.
Man.
They were part of an Asian gang. I had no idea. And so that's karma. That's karmic justice. I deserved that. Wow. There's so many times that, one of the times, like I said, we were in a police helicopter chase, right? Like we obviously weren't able to get away with the car. We were in a police helicopter chase, and imagine getting pulled over and a cop's foot on your neck and you're just wondering, like, what the hell am I doing?
Yeah, like what?
And that was the breaking point.
Events. Yeah.
It wasn't that 13 gangbangers whooped my ass and put me in the hospital. It was after that, it was that the cops chased me, and I could go to jail now, and my life could be completely different.
Right.
And
How old were you at that time?
Oh, man, early 20s, 21, 22. Yeah, just fuming with anger and rage.
So
right?
at this point, there's no goals or big dreams or nothing. It's
No,
just,
man. I'm going to work as a personal trainer in the gym. And as a personal trainer...
So you were doing this holding up cars while you were a personal trainer?
Yeah. Like I had like 4 clients in the gym.
Holy shit.
Right? I had 4 clients in the gym. That certainly wasn't enough money. So I didn't need to. I chose to strip cars down versus either learn to sell or get a side job, right? Ultimately, I ended up getting multiple side jobs.
It's crazy. But that police helicopter chase, it literally was chasing you guys and you were in the car.
Yeah. I was the getaway driver. Yeah, I was the getaway driver.
What's going through what's pulsing through you? What's going through your mind?
All right, this is actually a funny story. And I'm not advocating people go and get in a police helicopter chase at all. But my car was a 79 Toyota pickup. This particular time, I was the guy that was going to pull in front of the car that we're going to jack. And I scooted back. And of course, turns out there happened to be a random cop nearby who then calls the helicopter, right? Now, when you're in a 79 Toyota pickup, it's got a 4-cylinder engine. That thing's not going to go too fast, right?
Right.
So I'm going down La Palma in Anaheim, down the streets of La Palma and Crescent, trying to haul ass in a 79 Toyota pickup. You're not going anywhere. So at some point, because the cops don't want to chase you because then you're going to be a danger to people, the cops in the cars back off and the helicopter just gives chase. So I see everywhere I turn, I see the helicopter turn with me. I turn, the helicopter turns with me.
And your heart's just adrenaline, just unbelievable anxiety.
My heart is pumping. The guys in the car are like, dude, slow down so we can jump out. I'm like, I'm not going to slow down for you guys to jump out. You guys jump out, I'm taking the heat by myself. Like in that moment, I realized I'm not their friends. They're not my friends.
Wow. That's
because
scary, dude.
For a friend, I would do that. I would have slowed down. Right. But for acquaintances, for guys, I have something to gain and you have something to gain, and we're just going to carjack people, strip down a car in one night, and then go sell the parts, or we just sell the parts to someone else who then sells individual pieces. Yeah. But in that moment, I'm like, you know what, guys? I gave up. I was like, guys, I'm going to pull over into this gas station, and I pulled over into an Arco gas station.
And they're screaming in the car, like you guys are all like shitting bricks.
The guys are freaking out.
Right. Yeah.
One guy, this is before the 3-strike law had passed in the States. One guy already had he's like, dude, he had a misdemeanor, and he's like, if they catch us, like I'm going to jail for a long time, and he did. He went to jail for a long time. But little did I know, and this is the funny part, is while I thought, oh, it's just a helicopter and we're okay, I'm going to pull into the gas station, here's our chance for all of us to run. The moment I pull into Arco, the helicopter just kind of peels away. 4 unmarked cars. Turns out there were cars around us. There were unmarked cars. They just swarm onto the gas station and rip us out of the car with a quickness. So just the black and white cars went away.
Yeah, so you're not even expecting it, not thinking.
While the helicopter's following us, unmarked cars are just hovering around us. I'm thinking, here's our chance. We're going to run away. Dude, but I just barely opened my door. It got yanked open for me, and I was thrown to the ground, right? I deserved it all.
Of course, you're the driver, so you get the brunt of it.
Right. Yeah, so to me, in my head, I'm kind of laughing. I'm like, man, I thought there was no cops around. Like, where did they come from? They rappel down? In that moment, I was, the unmarked cars. Got it. Yeah, very awful experience.
Wow. Yeah. So then after that, is that when you obviously got thrown in jail for a little bit at least or something?
Believe it or not, I didn't.
No way.
Believe it or not, I didn't. Because I wasn't the one who was carjacking. My buddy was.
So okay.
I was the getaway driver. Yeah. My license got suspended. I had to pay, and I did community service because I had no record.
And then did your family find out about this?
Oh yeah, are you kidding? The repercussions I faced from my dad, a communist, angry
came to this country, how dare you?
Right,
right,
exactly.
Yeah.
Bro, he didn't even just backhand me like he normally would as a kid. He was beating me with a fistful of keys. Right?
Wow, man.
I don't know how many, he had 30, 40 keys. I don't even know what doors those things opened. Yeah. But I remember holy shit, I'm taking a beating here. And you don't dare swing it on your father, even if you're 20-something. Of course, yeah. Because then my older brother jumps in, then it's over. Yeah.
So then, was that the moment where it was a catalyst? You're like, all right, I need to do something different? Or did you still kind of travel down that road?
That's when I realized, for every one of my actions, there's an equal reaction, karma, right? And so literally that was over a weekend. Monday morning, I'm telling Jim Franco, one of my personal training clients, hey man, I had a really shitty weekend. Actually, I'm sorry, it was Tuesday. Monday I didn't make it to work. It was Tuesday. Hey, I had a really shitty weekend. He goes, so why are you stripping cars? Why are you dealing with cops? Why do you hang out with lowlifes? He was in his 60s. He owned this business called Autolog, and they did the software for mom and pop auto parts store, like when you go and say, hey, I've got a 79 Toyota pickup and I want an oil filter for it. You know, they look for your oil filter.
Right, yeah. So you did the software for that.
Yeah.
And I know Franco ended up being one of your early mentors in business, right?
Earliest mentors. And so he goes, why are you doing all this? I go, well, I need the money. He goes, well, I see how many people you let walk out of this LA Fitness, because I was a personal trainer at LA Fitness.
Right.
I go, well, they tell me they can't afford it. He goes, no, they can afford it. You just don't know how to sell. I go, but I sold you. And I was mouthing off. I go, but I sold you, Jim. I sold you a 6-month training package. He goes, you didn't sell me. You're an order taker. He goes, I knew I wanted personal training. I knew I wanted to work out for 3 times a week. And I knew I wanted about 6 months of training. You just filled my order like a waitress, right? Like a waitress.
So he tells you like it is.
Not even a waiter. And that's what I needed to hear in that moment. I needed to be set straight in that moment, because while I'm so blessed and thankful for my father bringing us to this country, he worked so hard that I never got any mentorship or guidance from him. I was raised like a savage otherwise, right?
Right, yeah.
And when you're raised like a savage with a lot of anger and hate in your heart and a chip on your shoulder, you know, these days I'll make posts about how I have a fire in my belly, a chip on my shoulder, and rage in my eyes. And that's true, and I channel all that for good. But you take a young man who's fit and athletic and full of all that hate and anger, that's fucking destruction. And so Jim says, hey man, you're an order taker. I'm gonna bring you cassette tape that I need you to listen to tomorrow. And he brings me this cassette tape, right? Now, by this point, I'm like, oh, what's the year? Like early 90s.
And personal development wasn't even on your radar then, right? No way.
First, I've never even heard of the word personal development, self-development.
Right.
He brings me a tape from, not Brian Tracy, Tom Hopkins.
Yes,
real estate sales, right? And the first thing I said, Jim, it says real estate sales. I'm a personal trainer. This isn't going to help me. He goes, just every time he says real estate, you hear it as personal trainer. Okay, great. So I wore it at night, fell asleep listening the first night. Second night, try to listen to it again. I heard him talking about Brian Tracy cassette tapes. Brian Tracy led to Zig Ziglar to Tony Robbins to Jay Abraham and Gary Halbert and Dan Kennedy. Like,
yeah,
all of a sudden
marketers love them. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I'm learning sales, marketing, influence, persuasion.
Market, yeah, exactly.
And in the process, I'm learning affirmations, like self-love, right? Like, I like myself. Like Brian Tracy was like, go stand in the corner in one of the cassette tapes and just jump up and down and say, I like myself, I like myself. And that is the stupidest thing you could ever do, but it's so stupid you can't help but have a smile on your face.
Right, yeah.
And it changes your state, doesn't it?
Yeah, your biochemistry, even. Yes, your physiology, everything, yep.
And Tony Robbins always says the fastest thing you can do is change your state. You might not be able to change your mind right now or change the outcome of whatever's hurting you, but you can change your state.
Yeah, it says emotion is created by motion.
Yes. And so now I'm learning self-love, self-acceptance, all this stuff, and I'm closing people left and right, man. And so Jim says, dude, you're a machine. Why don't you open up your own gym? Oh, okay. So that leads to opening up a personal training studio of my own. That led to 4 more. I had a total of 5.
So that personal development really planted the seed and got you on the train tracks of getting things right. Now, would you say, and I'm really curious, would you say that personal development, you consciously were applying it, or just naturally who you were becoming was just allowing you to naturally become better at sales and better at self-love and communicating?
Good question. I'd say it was a 80-20 split. 20% of the time I was making a conscious effort, because you do have to make an effort.
Right, yeah.
People go, man, I read a book. I always go, how was the book? Great, life-changing. Have you applied it? No. Then you haven't read it.
And that's most people, if they're being honest, yeah.
You've gathered information, but it hasn't changed your life. It's changed other lives, not yours.
Right? Or maybe it's inspired you, but it hasn't done anything for your income or your life or your body or whatever, yeah.
Exactly. So for me, about 20% of the time I would try and apply it, but of course, your instincts are always to go back to default, revert to default, go back to pessimism, skepticism, cynicism, right? Which is where I lived. I lived in that place. Optimism was not where I was. Abundance was not where I was. I would visit there 20% of the time and then detour right back to skepticism.
Right.
Through repetition of listening and hearing and then surrounding myself, one of the best things I had going for me as a personal trainer was that all of my clients were affluent. So they were organically optimistic.
Was that because of area or location?
The area, it was in the La Habra area, and La Habra is, pretty affluent.
Right.
And then, Fullerton, Coyote Hills, that area.
In Orange County, California.
Yeah, right. So it's pretty affluent, number one. And number two, if you're paying $600 to $800 a month for a personal trainer, you probably have some money.
Right, yeah.
Or the spouse has some money.
Right.
And you probably come from a white-collar family. You probably have experienced things that I haven't.
Yeah.
And so it was so cool to realize, hey, Jim's not my only mentor. Like, all my personal training clients are my built-in mentors.
Right.
But I only experienced that after listening to these audio tapes and ultimately CDs and stuff.
So they got to see you. It goes back to the resourceful thing. They got to see they allowed you to kind of open your mind and see how you could be more resourceful with what you currently have.
Yeah.
Because somebody else could have been in your exact shoes and just seen them as clients, but you saw them now as teachers.
Yes. Yeah.
And then, so how did that sort of apply to you then starting your own business and sort of scaling your fitness empire, which is now this huge multi-million-dollar company that you have today?
It's funny you say about, them becoming teachers, because they literally did. All of a sudden, when Jim Franco says you should open up your own gym, well, I just took it for a grain of salt. Like, crazy old man. He doesn't know what he's talking about, right?
You got your own limiting beliefs. I can't do it.
Yeah.
How am I going to afford it? I don't know taxes, credit, all that.
Right. I don't know this stuff. I didn't go to school for business. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a meathead. I just want to help people. That's it.
I can do that later. I have time. I'm young. Yeah.
And so, but I would share it with my other clients. I'm like, hey, my morning client, Jim Franco, says that I should open up my own gym. And I'm waiting for them to go, he's crazy. They go, yeah, you should. So now I've got this affluent person, that affluent person, that affluent person believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. In my head, I'm like, if he only knew how dumb I was, if he only knew what a foreigner I am, if he only knew how little I know about business, right? Yet each of them are like, yeah, you can. And they would all tell me their little bit of story about their adversity, where they came from, how they were dyslexic, how they had the odds stacked against them. And all of a sudden I'm like, wait a minute. Yeah, maybe I was a foreigner and I was picked on and bullied, but in some ways they had their own trauma. He had his own trauma. He had his. Yet they became entrepreneurs. And now I've got all these entrepreneurs and white collar folk believing in me. For the longest time, when I didn't believe in myself, I borrowed their belief. It wasn't until after my second gym that I started to have self-confidence. Like, you know what? I've opened up 2 gyms. These things are rocking. Maybe I do know what I'm doing.
Right, so that confidence starts building confidence,
Competence, start building confidence.
So when you started that first one, was there a lot of anxiety? Oh my God, I'm filling out the paperwork. I mean, were you taking actions in spite of that anxiety? Because I really want to speak to entrepreneurs that might be in that phase that you are now when you were, 21. Of course, when we interview entrepreneurs, a lot of times there's new sets of challenges as you grow and scale. But a lot of times, you might be out of touch with the feeling of being scared in that beginning phase. So for people listening that might be there, what's your best advice to sort of start taking steps and expanding your business, getting clients, whether it's coaching or consulting or online or whatever the endeavor? Talk a little bit about how important it is to take steps forward in spite of your anxiety or your uncertainty.
There's 2 pieces of advice I can give there. One of them is that as an entrepreneur, especially starting out, you're going to have a lot of anxiety. Right? Oh my God, I'm going to sign a lease. I'm going to sign a lease. What if that lease doesn't work out? What if I fail and I'm stuck on a 4-year lease? Oh my God, I'm going to build out. What if I can't afford the build out? As it turns out, action alleviates anxiety. So even though you're anxious, take action towards it.
I love that. Action alleviates
anxiety. I didn't know this until I just started to organically do it anyway, right? I later read a book by Suzanne Jeffers called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway.
I love that book. Yes.
Right. So you feel the fear, you feel the anxiety, but then you do it anyway.
Yeah.
That's the secret. And the other thing was to have a mentor. So that when I was like, hey, Jim, I'm negotiating a lease. I've never negotiated a lease with a landlord. I don't know what triple net means. I don't know what CAMs mean, right? Like that parking lot cleanup fee. So they might tell you it's $2 a square foot, but then they go, and then triple net is 54 cents. Oh, what the fuck is triple net?
Right.
Is it $2 a square foot and the 54, is it 54 per square foot per yard? Oh yeah, so it's really $2.54. As it turns out, they're both negotiable numbers. Right, I had no idea, right? Yeah. So I would bring it to my mentor, Jim, and he would go, hey, all that means is the parking lot cleanup fee and all that stuff. That's negotiable and that's negotiable. And so you're going to ask for 3 months of free rent. You're going to ask for something called TI. TI, what's TI? Tenant improvement. What does that mean? The landlord's going to pay for your build out. Why would they do that? He goes, trust me, they'll want you in there for 4 to 5 years. They're going to pay for it. Just ask for TI for $8 a square foot for TI. I didn't even know what that meant. I would just trust my mentor and go to the landlord with, here, I want to pay 26 cents triple net. I want to offer you $1.50 per square foot, and I want 3 months of free rent and $8 a square foot in TI. As it turns out, he goes, okay, I'll agree to the TI. He goes, all you have to do is you pay for it first, and then give me your receipts, and I'll pay for it. Okay, that's easy enough. But so all this to say that 1, action alleviates anxiety, and 2, just because you can't see the top of the staircase, all I see is the next step. And I don't know what's beyond there. Your mentor knows because he or she has been there and done that. If I was smarter, I would have gotten a mentor sooner instead of accidentally discovering one within my circle.
Gotcha, yeah. Because a lot of people might be in a situation where they're not bumping into mentors all the time. Or,
right.
Yeah, or could afford coaching at that particular time or whatever it is. So then, at what point did you transition from being, owning a studio to then expanding to the operation you're doing now with the, FitBody BootCamp?
Yeah, good question. So my personal training gyms, we did one-on-one personal training, right?
And that's how it started, right? Just one location, and And then 2, and then 3.
And then built up to 5.
And it was personal training clients at first, right?
Yeah.
Like they were all your clients.
Yeah. So it wasn't a big membership gym. It was personal training clients. Each gym had 10 to 12 personal trainers working for me, right? So we would sell them, me and my managers would sell them the personal training services, and we'd say, here's your personal trainer, Omar. He's going to train you over the next 12 months, right? And so I had 5 gyms with 10 or 12 trainers in each one, and we'd do a revenue share with them. And that was the model. Well, of course, then the economy crashes, right? And just before the economy crashed, 9/11 happened, I had the good fortune to sell my gyms. But now the economy crashes after 9/11, right? And
how many gyms did you sell at that time?
I sold all 5.
Okay.
So I had 5 gyms in San Diego, North County, San Diego, San Marcos, Vista, Escondido area, Encinitas. I had one in Murrieta. So they weren't all in San Diego.
And real quick, you said that you mentioned something that's a recurring theme, which is pretty interesting, is that you have all your employees on rev share, right?
Yeah.
Which means that they get a base salary plus rev share.
Yeah.
Can you talk just real quick about the importance of that, or why you feel like that's advantageous?
Yeah. Everyone's excited about being an entrepreneur, because being an entrepreneur today is like being a rock star in the 90s.
Right.
That's great. As it turns out, your employees are also entrepreneurial minded.
Right.
Especially if they're millennials, because
nowadays,
they were raised that way, right? And so I've taught my team upstairs to think of themselves as intrapreneurs. I'm the entrepreneur. I'll take the big risks. I'll buy the $3 million building. I'll build it out. I'll spend $250,000 a month on Facebook ads. You don't have to do any of those risks. All you have to do. So I'll be the entrepreneur. You be the intrapreneur within my entrepreneurial sphere, right? And because of that, I'm going to give you a salary, plus we're going to do a revenue share. And so I do a revenue share, not a profit share, because as the entrepreneur, remember, I have a growing franchise. We're adding about 20 new locations a month.
And how big is your operation now? Give us a full scope of where you're at currently.
So just to give you an idea, we have 649 FitBody BootCamp locations on the map. We're in 4 countries, 2 continents. 42 team members here in the building working for us. We spend $250,000 on Facebook, about another $250,000 on all other types of platforms every single month on buying traffic. We hit the Inc. 5000 list twice in the last 2 years. We recently hit Entrepreneur's fastest growing franchise list, 500. We're number, out of the 500 list, we're number 350 out of 175,000 franchises. In 2015, we were the top 15 franchises on the planet. And so we are having massive exponential growth.
Yes.
And our goal is to get to 2,500 locations by the year 2023.
That's incredible.
And if we do that, I'm impacting 5 million people every morning through health and fitness.
That's amazing, man. Let me ask you this. How important has discipline been? Because I know that's at the core of your ethos, right? You have a ritual where you wake up, put your phone down. Can you talk a little bit about how important discipline is, and also how somebody else who might be struggling to get disciplined can kind of snap into it, or any advice you have for people that...
You know, discipline is one of those things that's a game changer. It's a force multiplier of anything you do. For example, you might have the same work ethic that I do.
Right.
And so you're like, you know what, I'm going to stay awake till 2 a.m. And get this stuff done. Yeah, you're going to stay awake till 2 a.m, but somewhere there's time theft happening. Maybe from your wife, maybe from your kids, maybe from your health and fitness, maybe from your personal development and growth, right? But you've got my work ethic, and that's great. See, I've got the same work ethic, but I've got self-discipline, which means in the mornings, I don't go through my Instagram and my Facebook. My phone is put upside down, on silent, pushed away from me, so I'm not tempted. My notifications are turned off on all the platforms, because if it's right side up and I see a notification from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Google, whatever, I'm going to go there. I'm human. I'm tempted, right? So I eliminate all temptations. I have a morning routine. My morning routine starts the night before, right? And Craig Ballantyne taught me that. Like, he's a business partner of mine.
Who's the author of Perfect Day Formula?
Perfect Day Formula. He taught me how to have a perfect day, because I was that guy where I'll grind it out till 2 or 3 in the morning, man. I'm good. Let's go out having dinner. Let's have some late drinks at night. I'll go to sleep late. I'll wake up late, but I'll grind it out till 2 or 3 in the morning. Yeah, but I'm stealing time from my wife and kids and my own personal health. Like, what am I doing?
And you noticed a radical difference when you started being more disciplined. Because you can have a successful business and not be disciplined, but can you sustain it? Can you scale it? Can you be in control and not be stressed out?
Never mind sustain and scale. Will you be around long enough to enjoy it? That's the truth, man.
Yeah.
Just right now, Kate Spade and Anthony Bourdain, as we're filming this, within this last week, killed themselves. Entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs have the highest level of depression. We have the most suicidal thoughts.
Right.
The reality is that no one's talking about it, because we're supposed to be tough guys, because we make all this money. Like, we shouldn't have problems.
Right.
So we don't talk about it, right?
Yeah.
Like the cop who kills himself. Well, you know, he's a cop. He's making $50,000 a year, and half the people hate him as soon as he puts on his badge.
Right.
he kills himself. We go, well, we can understand. An entrepreneur kills himself or has these thoughts of depression, of sadness, of darkness. Why are you worried, bro? You're making all this money.
You have it all.
You have it all, right?
Yeah.
But look at the weight on our shoulder, right? I wake up every morning thinking someone is out there trying to put me out of business, right? Trying to put FitBody BootCamp out of business. Like someone is out there doing that. So I have to keep myself sharp, mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, with my family. I can't have any turbulence. Like my wife has to be on the same page as I am, man.
Right.
I have to make sure I get good sleep at night. If I don't, this podcast is not going to work out the way you want it to work out.
Right.
And so all these factors have to be in place. So I have to live like a fighter jet and not like a crop duster. The difference is you can build as a crop duster, you will not maintain, sustain, and continue to grow as a crop duster because you will fall out of the sky. You have to live like a fighter jet, like precision in everything, in what I eat, what I drink. Like my kids came this morning and you saw my daughter.
Right.
She brought my lunch bag with me because right after this, I've got a call, and right after that, I've got a scheduled feeding time because I'm going to eat because I'm a fucking fighter jet and I have to fuel myself so I can go dominate the next part of my day. Because my day doesn't end until 1 o'clock in the morning when I land in Vegas tonight or tomorrow morning, right?
Yeah.
So for that to happen, I have to get my morning workout. I've already got my day planned. As soon as I land, I better get my 7 hours of sleep because the next morning I'm speaking at a conference in Vegas tomorrow, right? So you have to be sharp as an entrepreneur. If you're not thinking like a fighter jet, if you're not making sure the people around you are fighter jets, like if you're a fighter jet but you're hanging out with fucking crop dusters, shame on you.
Yeah.
You know, that's my whole belief system where discipline, routine, and morning rituals are concerned.
That's unbelievable. Now, when you first started being disciplined, what were some struggles that you had with discipline or some challenges that you had?
Well, some of the bigger challenges was that I wanted to hit the snooze button because it was such a morning pattern for me.
Do you wake up at the same time every day?
Every day, I wake up between 5 and 5:30 now. It's rare that my alarm even goes off on my phone. And when it does...
So it's just natural now? That How did you train yourself to get in that natural window? You had a 5 a.m. alarm first?
I had a 5 a.m. alarm first, and I would hit the snooze, and then I would get mad at myself. And then one day, I had these... I don't know if this ever happens to you. I had this weird epiphany while I was flying in a plane. Sitting there was a really long flight. I'm like,
That's a lot of wisdom. Good ideas.
Yes,
come on
right?
Because or in the shower,
your phone's turned off. You're not getting text messages and blown up, or in the shower, right? You're isolated, and you can be in your own thoughts. And all of a sudden, I realized in that moment that, hey, you know what? If I choose to hit the snooze button in the morning, I'm really making a choice. 10 more minutes of interrupted sleep. I value that more than getting up and living my purpose and my passion. That means I'm telling my subconscious mind that I really don't value my purpose and passion. I'd rather take 10 minutes of interrupted sleep.
Yeah.
By saying that to myself, I stopped hitting the snooze button. And I'm able to now wake up organically between 5 and 5:30 on my own because 7 days a week, I go to bed at 10:30 and wake up. So if 5 days a week you go to bed at 10:30, but on the weekends you're partying like an animal and go to bed at 1, yeah, you are going to have to hit the snooze button the rest of the time.
So do you wake up same time on Saturdays and Sundays as well?
Yes, sir.
So it's just an everyday type of habit. Now, do you have a time to time you go to sleep, or it's just you sleep whenever, but no matter what, you wake up at this time?
I go to sleep at 10:30. There's some days like tonight.
You know, stuff happens or whatever,
Like tonight, I'm flying to Vegas. I get into Vegas at midnight. By the time I'm in my room and sleeping, it'll be 1 o'clock.
Gotcha.
Right? I'll make up for it with a nap. Like when I'm speaking all day tomorrow, during the lunchtime, I'll go take a nap in my room. Like I'll make up for it. But normally, I sleep at 10:30 p.m., wake up between 5 and 5:30.
Wow. And then you've noticed a radical difference in terms of your business, mood, energy. Yeah.
Weight loss, got lean again because stress levels, cortisol, all that stuff is down, right? Like my nervous system operates better. My memory, I'm no longer foggy. I have clarity of memory again, right?
And that part of that too is your workout during the day, right? After your little morning ritual.
Yeah.
You work out and then work.
I hit the gym, then I come here and shower, and then I'm ready to go. That's why we have to do a 1 o'clock and not like a 9 a.m. thing because at 9 a.m. I'm in the gym.
Right.
Right? And I wouldn't sacrifice a workout for this because I wouldn't be able to deliver the thunder that you want without me doing the self-care first.
Right, yeah, the priorities first.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, now talk to me a little bit about, because I know that you're also, you have a book coming out called Man Up.
Yep.
And you're also doing really well in the digital marketing space. Can you talk a little bit about how you got into that? Because I'm sure there's a little bit of, firstly with the digital marketing, there's a little bit of, oh, this is a new endeavor, right? Kind of like the gyms.
Yep.
So what's your best advice to people who are sort of, maybe they want to start in the digital information products or maybe figure out how to position themselves as an expert and have no clue how to do it? You know, how do I create a funnel? I don't have money. What's your best advice to people that want to sort of start taking those steps?
One of the best pieces of advice that I can give to anyone who's in the digital marketing space is to put their customers on continuity. I've got a product called Fit Pro Newsletter.
Meaning recurring
income.
membership model.
Yeah. Listen, if you're going to sell an ebook for $29, unless you're going to charge that person for something else, you pretty much lost them as a customer, right? The argument might be, well, yeah, I'm going to send them up to my $100 product.
Yeah.
Right. But then what? I'd rather sell them a membership to a site or a service, and ideally it'd be a done-for-you service instead of a do-it-yourself service. I have a product called Fit Per Newsletter. We've got over 2,500 personal trainers, gym owners, who pay me $69 a month for a newsletter platform that we send out for them digitally on their behalf. So it's content that goes out to all the personal training clients that they have, and it's got their image, their picture, their logo, and all that, phone number and stuff. But we wrote the content. Dude, that thing makes me multiple seven figures every year, right?
And that's just a part of the business.
It's a part of the business.
Right.
It's completely different than my franchise, but it's a digital product that I decided, look, I could either say, hey, here's a stack of 1 year's worth of newsletters, buy it from me for $1,000, and then email it out to your clients.
Right.
Okay, that was a one-time sale. Are they willing to pay me $69 a month over and over again? I've got clients who have been on board for 3-4 years on that platform, right? And so find a way to take the one-time sale and turn it into a continuity, even if it's for less dollars per month. And there's nothing better than starting the first of the month knowing that I've got $400,000 in recurring revenue scheduled to come in this month.
Plus, you're offering them continual value, and you can also continue to offer them more products and services. And they trust you, obviously, because you're delivering that value, holds you accountable. Talk to me a little bit about, let's get into like the specifics real quick. So say, for example, you don't know anything about the digital marketing space and you're in the gym. Maybe somebody has their own niche watching or listening to this and they're like, you know what, I want to create my own program, but they know nothing. What would be Bedros' advice on step 1, step 2, step 3? You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
Talk to me the practical, applicable things of what people could do.
So if someone's got an idea of what they want to create, the easiest thing they're going to want to do is, I'm going to create a course, I'm going to go do it now. So they're either going to start firing up a video camera or start writing in a Word doc to later turn into an ebook. I say stop right there. Write the sales copy first. Step 1, write your sales copy first. Because if you create the course, if you create the course and then you go and write the sales copy, you're like, oh man, I want to put this benefit bullet in. Shit.
I don't have a module for that.
I don't have a module for that.
Right.
Write the sales copy first. Let the sales copy be the outline for the product. That's thing number 1. Thing number 2 is, when you make the product, make sure that you're okay with a low barrier to entry. Make it a $7, $9, $19 front-end product. That's okay. Be willing to lose money up front because you're going to have 3 upsells in place immediately. The one-click upsell, especially if they're using ClickFunnels, a platform that like ClickFunnels.
Shout out ClickFunnels.
Right?
You can find it in the description below. We got a link for you guys.
So I love that. I love that. Pitch. Yeah, I love that. Where ClickFunnels is concerned, sell the thing for $9, man, and then have like a $19, a $29, and a $39 upsell. Like, that's fantastic.
Yeah, and the software is there now to where it makes it easy for people to sell their products.
It makes it easy. So that's the second thing I would tell them is, so the first thing is write the copy first. The second thing is make the front end product. Be willing to make the front end product low priced, so long as you have 3 upsells that convert, right, in the funnel. And then the third thing is be willing to have a flagship product. So I would say there's a front-end product, your digital course, and there's a flagship product. Your flagship product is this multi-$1,000 course. I believe there's about 10 to 15% of your customer base, not of your email list, of your customer base, who are willing to automatically go from your front-end $19, $29, $69 product to a $2,000 6-week virtual
package.
coaching program. Yeah.
How about in terms of finding their niche, right? Obviously, you knew fitness was your passion, but there's a lot of people out there that might have skill sets in coaching, consulting, whatever. What's your best advice to people to find their niche or their passion or whatever it is to leverage it for business?
Yeah, the easiest thing to find your niche is this. What would you do if you didn't have to get paid for it? Like if I said, hey man, Omar, you're never going to get paid again. Like, I'm going to make sure you have a house, you have food, you can go on vacations, all your bills are paid for, but you don't have to worry about making money. What would you do for fun? What is it? Who would you help? What is the group? The demographic that you would serve. Everyone's going to come up with an answer. See, once we tie money to it, if I did this, it would make more money than that, and then we start bouncing back and forth.
Getting in our head, but how would I market that? And then maybe we start taking steps on the idea that makes more money, but then we didn't have the motivation or the why, so we die out, and now a month goes by, and you spent money, marketing dollars, So I say just find the thing that you're most passionate about if money didn't exist, right? Like, I'm going to take care of all your personal finances. What is the thing that you would do for free because you just love doing that so much? You just do it anyways,
That's because if you love it so much, there's thousands of other people who love it too. And when the suck factor comes, and the suck factor will come, when the going gets tough, when you hit a roadblock, you will persevere through it because you're so passionate about that thing. You're not just doing it for the money, you're doing it for the why.
Talk a little bit about that. Did you ever have times where you struggled with your why? I mean, I'm sure even while growing your business, I'm sure even in the 6 and 7 figures and beyond, there's still those sort of times that things get tough, you lose your why. Can you talk a little bit about what you do when you're stuck finding your why? I mean, do you actually write down your why? Do you audition ideas in your mind? Do you just have it on tap? Is it family? You know, what's been that process for you?
You know, for me, I'm very clear on what my why is because I've been doing this for almost 20 years now.
And
right?
you've always been
space. No, I had a general idea. I knew that, okay, after losing weight in high school, I wanted to help more people lose weight and gain confidence. But I got sidetracked by carjacking, right? And then, of course, you know, then I got some side jobs. I was a fry cook at Disneyland and a bouncer at a bar and all those things. So those weren't my whys. That was just for money. I needed money. But I always knew I wanted to help people achieve an outcome. Like my clients loved me and I really felt gifted. I had a gift of training and coaching people and making them look forward to the next workout. And so, but I thought I was just going to be a one-on-one personal trainer. And then I realized, wait a minute, my client says I can leverage myself and open up more gyms and have other trainers working for me. My why can get bigger. I can help more people through other personal trainers, right?
And then the possibilities started expanding.
Yeah. So your why, you're not really going to get. And now, of course, I think I know what my why. It's still training and coaching people. Now it's also helping them as entrepreneurs and helping them reach their fullest potential. Not just in fitness, but in life, in health, in family, in finance. And so I realized ultimately my big why is to be a coach. Whether that's through fitness right now with our growing FitBody BootCamp brand, or through my books and courses that I've created that helps with personal development, self-growth, overcoming limiting beliefs. I'm a coach. Like my big why is to help humanity because the moment I stop helping humanity, I go into self-destruction mode.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know what another person's is, but just start with that one thing. Like, who's the one person you want to help? 1 becomes 10, 10 becomes 100, 100 becomes 1,000 before you know it. Wow, I'm helping millions of people.
Yeah, and you're certainly leading by example too. So talk to me a little bit too about times where you've been stuck. Have you ever had a point where you felt stuck, maybe something you haven't shared before or whatever, you know, personal matters that were tough? I mean, can you talk to me about some of the biggest challenges that you faced in personal or business? And sort of how you overcame them just real quick?
Sure. In fact, you know, being fully transparent about being stuck, I feel a little stuck right now, which is funny because you
appreciate the honesty. Yeah.
I feel a little stuck right now. People are like, well, wait, what do you mean? And I was talking to my wife about it. I'll gladly share it with you guys and your audience. I feel a little stuck right now because we're adding about 20 locations a month. My goal, remember I told you, is 2,500 locations by the year 2023.
2023, yeah.
I like to have unrealistic goals, and I don't relent on my goals. I don't shrink them down just because I'm off target.
So you don't necessarily take realistic goals and then scale the realistic. You start unrealistic and find a way to get there in the world to make that happen.
Yes. So I need, dude, every month I'm 14 locations short. I need 34 locations a month to get to 2,500 locations by January of 2023. I'm 14 locations short every month for the last 4 months, right? Because I've got such a unrealistic goal. I want to have an unrealistic goal, but now the pressure is getting on me. So guess what I did? And I hope they don't mind me saying this, the franchise Mathnasium. Have you heard of that?
Of course, yeah.
We recruited their vice president of franchise sales. His name is Ken. He's right upstairs. He started 2 weeks ago. And so I felt stuck the last few months because, we're growing fast for a franchise, for being so new. It's not fast enough for me.
Right.
And therefore I feel stuck. To the world, I'm like blazing fast.
Right.
My expectations, I'm stuck the last 3 or 4 months. My growth went from like 15 to 17 to 20, and it just stayed at 20 locations a month. That's not fast enough for me. I need 34 locations to hit my goal. So I recruited the vice president of franchise sales of Mathnasium, because he's a badass.
Right.
And I said, hey, I need you to run my team up here. And he's going to get us on track.
And now that's the goal.
Yeah. He knows what his numbers are, 34 locations a month. Now, by the time 2 more months go by, we're probably gonna need like 36, 37 locations a month. But so that's where I feel I'm stuck right now. But I was stuck for a long time, and I'm like, all right, what do we do? What do we do? I tried recruiting from other franchises in the fitness space. Didn't work out so well.
Yeah.
I said, what if I just think outside of the box? So when I get stuck, like I had been the last 3 or 4 months, and I still see myself as stuck because he just started a week ago.
Right, yeah.
For all I know, he doesn't work out.
Right.
So part of me is now like, shit, what if he doesn't work out? We're paying him all this money in addition to this franchise royalties that we pay him.
Right.
What if it don't work out? But what if it does? So I'm hoping he can help us unstuck. In the meantime, I'm still looking around for who could replace him if he doesn't work out.
And it goes back to that resourcefulness, and it's proof that you don't have anything necessarily that the audience or I don't have. It's just how you're capitalizing on that resourcefulness.
That's it.
Another lesson too that's interesting is that Russell Brunson talks about it. Anytime you're stuck in business, forget about the how and focus on the who. You know, instead of, oh, this is a problem, think, who could help me? You know, even if it's a matter of recruiting or finding or maybe hiring an intern, whatever, that there's always people that can solve your problems. And it's really one of the master skills in scaling or growing or getting past anything is people.
That's it.
And you've done a pretty great job at that.
People in process, dude, have been
systems. That's right.
Right. People in process has been the answer all the time. And someone once asked me, they go, well, 34 locations is unrealistic. Why do you want to do that? I said, how's it unrealistic? Starbucks is opening 2 locations a day. That's 60 locations a month.
Right.
They go, yeah, but they've been around since 1974. Who cares? It's not like they did something amazing and they had to ramp up for 30, 40 some odd years.
It's proof it's possible.
It's proof it's possible. That means I can come out the gates with that. And I just haven't been able to hit that number. And I felt stuck the last 4 months. And I pulled a Hail Mary and recruited out of my industry. And I hope he's going to work. But I've already got my eyes on other people, and the conversation with others are continuing just in case he doesn't work out. And that's how resourceful you have to get. Otherwise, I'll feel stuck for an awfully long time, and that doesn't make me a good husband or father, I can tell you that.
So obviously you've done tremendously in business. Obviously you're growing and figuring out your own challenges along the way, solving problems. What's your best advice to people overall? Like if Bedros could condense all the wisdom that he's gotten down to people out there listening to this, and maybe they're stuck in a rut, maybe they don't know their why, maybe they're like, should I have 3 goals in a year? Should I write my goals down? They're sort of stuck and maybe they find their thing. What is Bedros' best piece of advice to make your life more of the way you want it, whether it's fitness, life, mindset?
The best piece of advice to reach your full potential is to realize that you hold the pen and not someone else. Everybody gives the pen to their book to someone else. Here, you decide what my potential is. Here, you decide what my expectations should be. Grab the fucking pen back. There's plenty of blank pages left, and you start writing what your story is. My story is 34 locations a month, irregardless of what anybody says. And if the economy crashes, it's still 34 locations. It's just going to be harder to get there. That's it. I fucking have the pen, and I write. So take control back in your life by taking the pen out of everyone else's hands, and life ends up working out really well for you.
I love that, man. So at the end of every episode, we play a game called First Things First. So how it works is I'm going to say a list of 10 words. You tell me the first word or phrase that comes to mind.
Sure.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So first one, your new book, Man Up.
Leadership.
Fear.
I have it.
Your past.
Painful.
Anxiety.
Worked through it.
Success.
Elusive.
Passion.
Required.
FitBody BootCamp.
Empire.
Your legacy.
Raising 2 amazing children.
Your why.
To help millions of people gain the confidence through health and fitness like I have.
I love that. And then the last one, you ready?
Yeah.
Your story.
My story's still being written. My story's still being written. That foreign kid that came to this country and has become the American dream. I know I could never become the president because I wasn't born here. And maybe I don't want to become the president. But my story is of this foreigner who's ADD, OCD. Odds are stacked against him. And if I can make it, I want my story to be that the world can look at and go, then anyone can make it.
Love that, bro. Thanks so much for being on the show today, Bedros.
Thank you, Omar. Appreciate it.
If you guys enjoyed that video, be sure to hit that subscribe button right now, because every week we bring you the very best in personal development content, interviews, and insights to help inspire you to take your life and your dreams and make them a reality. And also, if you want to know how to book dream guests the same way I have, you can check the link below for my top 3 secrets. So if you have a podcast or a show or whatever it is and you want to collaborate with them, if you click that link below, I'll give you those top 3 secrets to help you get in touch with anybody. And also, don't forget that The Passionate Few is available on media platforms as well. So you can subscribe to the podcast. And until next time, thank you for being one of the passionate few.